Hello from Cancun in Mexico, and I'm here with Kelly. I won't even try and say her surname because I got it wrong before. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you. Welcome to the podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about it.
Yeah, thank you. It's Schuknecht, which I know is tough to spell and tough to say. And also, I'm very jealous of where you are because I would imagine it's a bit warmer than it is here in Colorado.
You're in marketing. First of all, how long have you been doing your current company? And secondly, how did you get into it? I love that story of when entrepreneurs decide that they're ready to give birth to their creation.
I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I never felt driven to be an entrepreneur. I never felt driven to start a company. I say that, but I'm going to tell you my story, and it's not true. It was in me. I just didn't know it. I was the person behind the person for 20 years of my career. I worked for male CEOs. They were the visionaries. They had all the ideas and knew everything. I helped them get everything done. That was the role that I thought I was supposed to be in. I was a great support person. I was a vice president of a company, and then I was a director of marketing and was the person to bring the vision to life. And I was good in that role. But the company I was working for was acquired. And as a part of that acquisition, being in marketing, it was not really surprising that I lost my job when that happened. There was a couple of years after the acquisition where I had this gut feeling, I think I'm going to lose my job. And I kept thinking, like, what would I do next? Do I want to go through the job search process again? And I kept coming back to this company that I was dreaming of, and I named it 2 Mile High
Let me
Marketing.
stop you right there. You said you're not an entrepreneur, but you were dreaming of a company.
I don't think of myself as that, but I was dreaming of it. I just didn't give myself credit. I wasn't owning that as this is my dream. I was secretly dreaming that. And I had started a website. I was thinking about what I was going to offer and how it was going to work. I lost my job. I had the meeting. It was shocking. It was like a Thursday. So it went through the weekend. Okay, I can apply for jobs. I'll start every day applying for jobs. And then after I apply for jobs, then I'll work on my company. It was still going to be a side hustle. And by Monday morning, I was like, screw this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not applying for jobs. I am going all in on this company.
Yeah.
I quickly started talking to people, trying to figure out what I now call my authority X factor. I was trying to figure out what made me unique and what made me the best fit in the marketplace. I feel like I tapped into it really well because my business grew really quickly within a year. And I feel like I'm exactly where I was meant to be. I just had to get pushed to be in that position.
How long have you been going now?
As of right now, it's been about 15 months. Yeah.
That first year is always the hardest, right?
I hope so. I grew to a team of 3 full-time people and 5 to 7 part-time and contractors. We grew pretty quickly. I hope that the first year was the hardest in all of the learning lessons that I learned in the first year.
The biggest one.
I wasn't prepared for the ups and downs, right? Things were growing. And so I hired a bunch of people and then learned that certain people don't work like I do. Nobody's going to work like I do. Certain people aren't going to work out. We went through this cycle of training new people, and then this person didn't work, and then training a new person, and then that didn't work. I was shelling out money, paying all these people, and it wasn't coming back to me in productivity. The end of the year really surprised me that I was getting a lot of sales calls, a lot of people coming to me and then saying, yeah, this sounds great. We'll start in January. We're putting together our budget for next year. The last couple of months of the year, I was panicking. People don't make decisions in November and December. And now I'm prepared for this next year. Don't plan on any sales in November and December. If you have them, that's a bonus, but don't plan on it because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
January hit the ground hard in January. And now we've had a crazy month this month with people finally moving forward. Those were things I was not expecting.
So what makes you guys different then?
I originally thought 2 Mile High Marketing was going to be a fractional CMO firm. That's what I thought I would do is offer fractional CMO services. But as I started thinking about the messaging and how I was going to position myself and talk about what I did, I just couldn't get my head around fractional CMO services because I feel like there's so many people out there doing that type of work. And in fact, I had hired fractional CMOs in the past and not had great results. I'd heard from other people they didn't have great results. And so I wanted to differentiate myself from that. I decided to lean into my own unique experience. I had spent 10 years in publishing. A lot of business owners would ask me about writing and publishing a book. And then the second half of my career was building a marketing team and taking my boss and elevating him as a thought leader in his industry and helping him grow his company. I thought, I'm going to take these two things and create a service where I help people develop their thought leadership platform, helping people get speaking events, podcast interviews, doing their LinkedIn management. Most business owners know they got to show up on LinkedIn, even though they don't have the time for it and they don't want to do it. We take that off of their plate. Ghostwriting, so we can help them get that book in hand. So when they're going out and speaking, they have that. Being very clear and specific about how I can help was a key factor in our growth that first year, because I wasn't just saying, I'm a marketing person and I can do anything related to marketing. I was very specific. We also do have outsourced marketing clients. We do other services for people. I don't lead with that. I lead with the speaker elevation plan that we do, the thought leadership marketing. And I think that made a big difference.
Let's segue into something slightly different. You're in the honeymoon phase. You're just coming out of the honeymoon phase, right? Of this, your baby, your business, the thing you're building in the world. How have you handled your own mental and physical health through this process?
Not well is the first answer. In fact, you're interviewing me at a really great time because I'm a big reader and I typically read 50 to 60 books every year. I always set a goal of 52 books is one book a week. It comes out to 50 to 60. And in 2025, my first full year in business, I read 16 books, above average, but it was way less than I normally read. Because of that, I told myself I've got to start reading back into my daily routine. Even though sometimes my mind is all over the place with business stuff, it's not that I'm so busy and working all the time. It's just that your brain I have a hard time getting my brain to relax in order to read. And so I told myself I need to do that. The other thing is, I am just at the end of, I'm dog sitting my husband's dog. He got a Belgian Malinois, which is a very high energy dog, and
Oops.
it's 7 months old, and he went out of town for 2 weeks. And so I have to walk this dog 2 miles every morning, 2 miles every afternoon, and I'm almost done. But the one thing I learned from the last 2 weeks was, wow, my body is a lot better off for moving, like setting aside that time. Now, I also combine that with listening to an audiobook while I walk him. So I'm getting away from my desk. I'm separating my day. Like I start with that, I end with that, and then in the middle is my work, right? And so I will say the first year, 2025, I did not take care of myself very well, but I made some commitments to myself this year to work some better habits into my life in a way that I can manage right now. And so that's what I'm working on.
I work with business owners and I help them grow and scale their companies. And first of all, I help them with AI and how they think about it, not the tools, because everyone has tools, right? And everyone has 500 tools they don't know what to do with, but how to think about it. And then I will only work with them if they're prepared to do what you've just spoken about. They have to be able to look after themselves. I've been in the situation where I'm just about to jump off a tower because I'm suicidal, right? And because I learned breath work, because I've done Wim Hof and I'm a Wim Hof instructor, I just did some breath work and that saved my life. And 60% of small business owners are near burnout. And so I won't work with people unless they're prepared to invest in themselves. Because the other thing we end up doing, I think, is we end up looking after everyone else, not ourselves. Right. Yeah, that really resonates. And that's really fundamental to how you can grow and scale your business. You can't do it without the energy you need. Right? So the question is, firstly, what's your favorite book out of all time?
Oh man, one of my favorites. I'm like, dang it, favorite of all time, huh? Okay, can I do two?
No. One.
Ah,
You can tell us the second one, but one.
one book that changed my life. I'm going to say Personality Isn't Permanent. It's by Benjamin Hardy. That book is why I am where I am right now today.
First one, and then you can share your second one.
Okay, okay.
My first one is The Four Agreements.
I've heard of that. I have not read it.
It's a short one.
I
Yeah.
know, I got to read it.
The second one?
Is Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Who Not How for me, I guess. Work one.
What's that? Here, Not How. Is that what you said?
No, don't
Dan
remember.
Sullivan?
Yeah, that's what.
Who, not how. I have read that one, but it's been a while.
Now, yeah, to your first point, your personality isn't permanent, right?
Yeah.
Your requirements now are different from what they were. Let's transition now onto the subject that's going to change all of our lives massively from 2 years ago. AI. How are you thinking about AI? Where do you see this going in the world? And what you've chosen in terms of your key person of influence piece, in terms of doing that, is very powerful for the next year. But very
Yeah.
few careers are, especially marketing, is going to be the biggest thing that gets killed. Where do you see it going?
Yeah, marketing agencies are definitely struggling right now with AI and what it's replacing. And I think agencies are just trying to figure out how to get ahead of it, right? And how to be prepared for what's coming or what has already come and what's impacting them. Because people can create an image now without, you don't need a designer. You can write content. You don't need a writer. You can design a website. You don't even need a developer. There's all these things that it can do now. Somebody asked me when I first started my business, because I started it in the middle of all of this, people are like, what are you thinking? You're starting an agency right now? That did make me rethink my plan a little bit. But for me, we use AI on my team to be efficient. We can use it to do research for speaking events. We have some databases we use, but we can also use some LLM tools to do some research around that. We can use it to create some content. We never just use it straight from the LLM, though. If I'm applying for a speaking event, I can very quickly adjust the presentation brief that I have for a client to the event and who the attendees and the theme of what they're looking for. Those things are really great. My feeling about AI is that it's making us more efficient. It's making us better at what we do. It's saving us some steps, but you still need people adapting what you're getting, the output, and thinking a little bit. I couldn't be as efficient with my team without the AI. I know that's the case, but it's not a touch of a button and it can just do what we are doing for people.
I love your element of keeping human in. And one of the books I read spoke a lot about bookending with human. I
Yeah.
always bookend all over the place. I would say that what I feel is the biggest missing point at the moment for people is that in order to be more human, what's the one thing you have to do? You have to do way less repetitive tasks. For example, when I finish this podcast, it gets picked up automatically from Zoom. It gets dumped into a folder. I then pick it up from there and I do a little bit of work on Descript. And it then does 2.5 days worth of work that it would have taken me beforehand and puts it everywhere with human checks and then pushed out. And the automation piece for every small business owner that's out there, the automation piece is huge. There just aren't companies doing it. I'm actually starting a company doing this as well. There just aren't companies that can look at the business structure, the operating system, the SOPs, the step by steps, those things that we do repeatedly. And once we know what those things are, then the things that don't need human can be pulled out. And then the humans can spend more time doing what they love doing. This is a key feature of Who Not How, is that right? Do the thing you love doing. Go and do the speaking events. Go and be on camera. Go and do the things that really light that fire in your life. And if you can do those for 90% of the day, what a gift. That's where I see the majority of the successful companies are going to come from in 26. Firstly, I don't know if you've come across the book Traction.
Yeah.
Using I coach a similar system to that. This structure and grounding where you're working on the business, not in the business, fundamental. Then using AI to layer all the repetitive tasks into that so that what you're actually ending up doing is just having more time to spend 90% of your day doing what you love. And that for most people, it's a human connection. We lost it in COVID. We've been losing it for years now. Now we have the opportunity of getting it back again. I think it's a lovely time to be starting a business now, if you do it in the right way.
Right.
Too many people are scared and too many people are not thinking in the productive way. How can AI help me with this? How can it be my thought partner? How can it make me think more? I still maintain last year I probably got 6 years worth of work done in 6 months. This year, I think I got 6 years worth of work done in less than that. It's just speeding up. I don't know if you've heard about the latest craze of Claude bot that's out there. Claude bot's got nothing to do with Claude. Claude bot is very scary. You take your mobile phone, right? You configure all the stuff in there. And then Claude bot can take control of your PC, right? and it can do everything for you. Go into social media, post things, go to a bank. The one I saw yesterday, someone posted a video of Claudebot actually went and built an AI agent, voice agent on Eleven's Labs because he was trying to book an appointment for the person. They didn't have a booking. So he called them up and talked them into it. Yeah. And understanding this is where we're going, yeah, fundamental to running a business. Now, obviously, that is massively fraught with all sorts of security holes all over the place. And people are, oh, it's easier, I'll just do that. And suddenly all your credit cards are empty, your house is remortgaged, and it's buying Bitcoin so it can make you more money. Yeah, and then the market crashes. There's all sorts of challenges around that. But that's the difference between being on the bleeding edge and the cutting edge. Yeah, you want to stay close to the cutting edge, but not quite there. And for small businesses, it's so important to know what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to stay on top of all of it. It's moving so fast.
And it's purely what's the business problem I fix today? First of all, fix it, and then systemize it, and then automate it, and then move on to the next one. So, what's the future look like?
I don't know. I think for us at 2 Mile High Marketing, we continue to grow. It seems like things are moving
That's a
along.
mind shift there, young lady. You're not hoping anything. You're going to continue to grow.
It's gonna happen.
It's going
Yes,
to be
yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes. In April-ish, I will be publishing my book, The Authority X Factor, and launching a course to go along with that on personal branding. So those are pieces I've needed to have in place for my business and also have not had the time to dedicate to that in this first year. So prioritizing that in the first quarter, that's one of the things that I'm really trying to get done because I know it'll be helpful to people and just another good way for us to serve people who maybe aren't a good fit for our services. They're smaller and they want to learn how to do some of the personal branding things that I teach. So that's this year. That's about as far as I can see into the future.
Even see 6 months in the future. Who knows,
Yeah.
right? If people want to get hold of you, Kelly, what's the best way to do that?
2milehighmarketing.com. If you're a business owner interested in developing your thought leadership platform, I do have a quiz thought leader scorecard right on the website. When you go there, you can take that 3 minutes. It's free and it's a great resource for learning more about what you could do to develop your thought leadership platform and more. It'll give you a score and give you some tips. LinkedIn is a great place to connect with me, and Roy can put my LinkedIn link in the show notes because my name is not easy to spell.
Thank you for joining me. It's been amazing chatting.
Thanks, Roy.